Hello, my name is Brianna Smith. I am currently an English education major at Concord University. This is my video submission for my final exam paper with Professor L. Smith. Um, so we had to do a video on the book that we had to choose for our final exam. I didn't choose the book from the suggested reading list from the department, but I did get approval from my professor that I could use this book. I found this book while I was thrift shopping with my mom at the Salvation Army, and I just found it very interesting. I thought, wow, like I looked through it and I seen some of the titles and read some of the excerpts, and I was just like, I think this would make a good paper. So, the book that I chose was called Exploring Sociocultural Themes in Education by Joan Strouse. And the book is just a multitude of readings from different scholars and educators around the world. I chose 3 different readings because they really stuck out to me where I am an English teacher and I want to expand my career after I graduate to teaching overseas and dealing with different cultures and dialects. Um, so the first reading that I did was the Self-Fulfilling Prophecy in Ghetto Education by Ray Rice. Mr. Rice was conducting a study through Harvard University where he was going to school, and he was conducting the studies back in the 60s where he monitored a kindergarten class and monitored a set of kids. And he monitored these kids from kindergarten to 2nd grade, and he discusses how the kindergarten teacher, how she separated the different students into different reading groups, but she based it on their social class. And just to sum it up, Mr. Rice, he just states how, discrimination and different attitudes towards different cultures and races, it can limit a child's success. Because if you're just worrying about race and what goes together and everything, it's just not going to work out. We live in a new society now anyway where different races are integrating, and we have, families that are interracial, and, we see, but at the same time, there's a lot of race involved in the country still, unfortunately, too. And, I mean, the reading also interested me because when I read the title Ghetto Education, I've in elementary, I went to a predominantly ghetto school, as you would call it, and Stratton Elementary, if you ever heard of it. And it just made me think back. Stratton was not a bad school, but I felt like they were limited to many things because the education department, never funded our schools like that. And, our literacy rates was really down, and it was just a shame. And I didn't really think about that as a child when I was going there. But now, I'm hearing that, they're closing the school down. They may be closing it down this year. And part of me, it's sad, but I just feel like maybe if the school didn't have such a stereotype with this a fortunate event happen. Maybe if the certain attitudes of teachers dealing with, a predominantly black school, and the values and, the lives that these children, have, if that wouldn't affected it. The next reading I did was The Historical Dimensions of Multicultural Education. Another reading that interested me where, like I said, I would love to teach overseas when I graduate, but also if I stay in the States, I would still love to be an English as a second language teacher for, many races and cultures that are now coming over to the United States that can't speak English, and it's hard to really function in a regular classroom with a language you can't understand. And pretty much, this reading just discussed the dimensions of multicultural education, and the dimensions are content integration, the knowledge constructive process, prejudice reduction, equality, pedagogy, and empowering school structure and social structure. And it also talked about in the multicultural education how many officials and many scholars are saying how multicultural education can only be successful if it's implemented in certain ways. A lot of people, that statement actually is facing a lot of backlash, but the people who are backlashing against it, they feel that curriculum, teaching materials, teaching and learning styles, attitudes, the perception and the behavior of the instructor actually empowers the embodiment of the multicultural student. So that really interested me, because where I would teach in the United States, I would love to actually teach in a school where I would love to teach in any school, but I would love to work with at-risk children in this city if I ever move away. Children who just are not motivated, children who just come from a bad background, a bad home, so therefore, they really just don't care about school and what it has to offer. So this really interested in me too. And also, dealing with the different cultures and everything. America is becoming bigger, and we are seeing more different ethnicities every day. And like I said, we're seeing more interracial families and mixed families, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And pretty much the reading just sums up how, being the best you can be while dealing with the student that may come with a different background. Okay, and then the last reading I did, which I also liked, it was On Being the Reflective Teacher by Carl Grant and Kenneth Zegner. And this reading was pretty much sums up how a reflective teacher is very open-minded about the methods and the curriculum of their students. They don't favoritize them. They don't favoritize or, group certain students. They care about each and every one of their students. They reevaluate the child's worth. And that's how I feel as a teacher. A reflective teacher is about being wholeheartedness and having a student push themselves and making them feel like they can be the best they can be. And I think that is the most inspiring thing of being a teacher. The fact that when you're a teacher, you're helping someone learn. And teaching is a very underappreciated job by the public. You have students that they don't want to be there, and you may deal with attitudes, and you don't get paid that much. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, yeah, you may not get paid as much as the average professional, but at the end of the day, I think it's rewarding just to know that you're helping and benefiting a child's life. And I just overall really just enjoyed this book because, the readings that I selected, because it had hundreds of readings inside. But I just really enjoyed this, the readings that I actually read, because I feel like I'll actually read this book again in the future, maybe a week before I actually begin to teach. It'll remind me of okay, how to approach this and how to do this and how this affects that. And I think it's a very great book. I really loved it. I can't find it right now, and I really hate that. I think my mom actually borrowed it because she thought it was an interesting read, and she loves reading. But you guys should check it out. Ms. Smith, you should check it out yourself. It is the Exploring Sociocultural Themes in Education by Joan Strouse. And my name is Brianna Smith. And you guys have a good day.